What if the oldest wisdom isn't a rule you memorize but a method you practice? Socrates didn't write a single book, yet his method has echoed through classrooms, courtrooms, and kitchens. It's not a set of commands, but a way to think, a way to turn every answer into a new question, if you're willing to learn. These ideas can become a precise tool for living, not a relic to admire. The idea behind this complete tutorial is simple. Socrates' quotes are starting lines, not finish lines. They aren't a finish line to cross, but a compass to recalibrate every time you stand at crossroads. In a world where certainty is celebrated and curiosity is often polite but cautious, Socratic thinking invites a more stubborn form of clarity. It asks you to verify your beliefs with the evidence you'd accept from someone else you respect. It asks you to measure what you claim against what consequences those claims would produce in real life. And it asks you to stay uncomfortable long enough to learn something. Think of Socrates as a craftsman of questions. The quarry is your own mind, the instrument your reason. And the goal not to be clever, but to be accurate. The unexamined life may be described as a life lived on autopilot, where habits replace inquiry and comfort replaces truth. The examined life is a perpetual audit of our premises, our values, and the stories we tell about ourselves. When we treat quotes as methods rather than rules, they become portable screws and hammers for daily decisions. They help you tighten the loosened joints of belief, not to force a new belief, but to test if the old one still fits. I'll guide you through a practical, complete approach to Socrates' thinking, using quotes as gateways to habits. We'll cover 4 pillars: definition, dialectic, consequence, and reflection. Each pillar can be practiced in minutes, but its effects compound over days, weeks, and months. First pillar, definition. The heart of Socratic work is the insistence on clear meanings. A statement without a precise term is a thought without a map. If you say you value freedom, what does that mean for you in a real moment? The choice to speak truth when it could hurt your career, or the choice to stay silent when your voice could save another's life. The correct question often becomes the decisive action. So, whenever a belief emerges, stop and ask, what do I mean by this term? How would I justify it if someone challenged me face-to-face over coffee or in a tense meeting? If you can't give a definition that could be debated without collapsing, you're not ready to act on it. The unexamined belief rarely reveals its cost until pressure tests expose its flaws. Second pillar, dialectic or Elenchus. Socrates didn't preach as much as he probed. He would tear a premise down, not to humiliate, but to replace fuzzy certainty with sharper thinking. In practical terms, this means inviting a trusted friend or even your own journal to play devil's advocate with your own positions. Ask, what would have to be true for this claim to be false? What will be the strongest counterexample? Can I imagine a situation where this principle leads to its resilience, the mental flexibility to modify your view when the evidence shifts? The moment you sense a destabilizing doubt, you haven't failed, you've learned the hinge on which your thinking turns. Third pillar, consequences. Socratic thinking returns to life's living outcomes. A good idea isn't proven by elegance alone. It should produce better outcomes for you and others. When a quote proclaims virtue, ask, what does this mean for my daily choices, my relationships, my work, my health? If a principle would cause harm in any person's lived experience, you should reframe it. A quote like the unexamined life is not worth living becomes practical guidance when you apply it as a weekly audit. What did I examine this week? Where did it lead? And what did it cost? The point isn't to worship scrutiny, but to ensure scrutiny serves life, not just intellect. Fourth pillar, the slow practice of turning over ideas in silence. Socrates valued the tested life, not the flashy soundbite. Reflection gives time for the nervous system to integrate insight, to let the discomfort settle, to turn a sharp question into a wiser habit. A few minutes of reflection after a decision, the pause between impulse and action, can be more. transformative than hours of reading. The reflection ritual could be a 10-minute evening inventory. What did I assume today? What did I learn? Where did I fail? What can I test tomorrow to move closer to truth? The point is not perfection, but alignment. Alignment with your best reason and with the consequences that matter to you. Now, a few concrete Socrates-themed quotes reframed as practical tutorials, with careful note on attribution. The unexamined life is not worth living, commonly linked to Socrates and Plato's Apology, urges you to live with intention. If you claim to value truth, you owe it to yourself to test what you know every day. Not once in a scholarly debate. Know thyself, a motto linked to the Delphi tradition and associated with Socratic self-scrutiny, invites you to map your strengths, biases, blind spots, and triggers. When you say you know something, you should also admit what you don't know yet and what you're ready to learn. I know that I know nothing, the famous line, is less a confession of ignorance than a reminder that certainty is a risk to growth. The moment you think you have nothing left to discover, you begin to stagnate. To translate these into practice, here is a short, complete tutorial you can apply this week. Step 1. Surface your assumptions. Write down 3 beliefs you hold most strongly. Step 2. Insist on definitions. Rewrite each belief in a single sentence that could be debated with a rational opponent. Step 3. Test with a counterexample for each belief. Find a scenario where it could be false and ask how you would respond. Step 4. Measure the consequences. What would change in your relationships, work, or health if you change your mind? Step 5. Reflect. At day's end, record what changed, what remained, and what you'll test next week. The goal is not to become a skeptic for skepticism's sake, but to cultivate a mind that is neither gullible nor brittle. And here comes the twist. The Socratic method isn't a weapon to defeat others. It's a discipline to liberate yourself from old habits of thinking that no longer serve you. If you treat every quote as a timeless decree, you may miss its real gift. A permission slip to doubt productively, to update beliefs gently, to choose curiosity when conformity would be easier. Socrates would remind us that wisdom begins not with certainty, but with the courage to say, I don't know yet, and I'd like to know more. Not as a surrender, but as a robust invitation to learn. As a modern reader, you might wonder how to use these ideas without becoming trapped in endless analysis. The answer is balance. Let your questions be practical rather than paralyzing. Let your curiosity coexist with responsibility. Use the quotes as mental tools rather than talking points. If a friend or colleague hears a Socratic question coming from you, let it sound like a doorway, not a trap. The aim is clarity, not combat. Understanding, not prestige. Let us anchor this in a simple, repeatable mindset you can carry into conversations, meetings, and even quiet evenings. When you hear a claim that resonates, pause and ask, what would this require to be true in the real world? What would prove me wrong? How would I explain this to a novice? If the answer survives 3 rounds of questions, you've earned a more solid belief. If not, you save yourself future embarrassment and open space for better evidence and richer nuance. The Socratic habit is not a silver bullet. It's a daily discipline of listening to the quiet warnings that your own mind offers when it's cornered by its own assumptions. In this tutorial, the aim is not to turn you into a caricature of a philosopher, but to offer a practical framework that respects time, emotion, and the stakes of real life. The quotes become touchstones for a living practice. They remind you that wisdom is a process, not a possession, a practice of seeking, questioning, and refining, not a trophy on a shelf. You don't need to memorize long passages to benefit. You need to adopt a stance, to question with kindness, to listen before replying, to separate the truth you seek from the narrative you want to tell. If you take away one idea, let it be this. The value of Socrates' quotes lies not in their ability to tell you what to think, but in how they push you to think more clearly, act more responsibly, and live with more honesty. The method is old, but the application is deeply modern. In a world of loud opinions and quick verdicts, the Socratic approach offers a counterbalance, a habit of patient inquiry, a willingness to be wrong, and a commitment to grow through doubts rather than dodge them. As you practice, you'll notice that the quotes begin to do something surprising. They stop being slogans and start guiding you toward better questions. They don't demand obedience, they invite effort. They don't promise certainty, they promise progress. And that progress, measured in a more precise mind, more compassionate actions, and fewer impulsive judgments, is the true gift of Socratic thinking for everyone. The path is not glamorous. It's often slow, sometimes uncomfortable, and always worth it. The more you apply the method, the more it reveals a simple truth. Wisdom isn't a destination you arrive at. It's a practice you commit to every day. When you close this lesson, you're not finishing a course. You're beginning a habit that makes you sharper, calmer, and more awake to the world you inhabit. If you walk away with one practice today, let be this. Ask better questions, and let the answers be your guide toward a life you can be proud of. The heart of the matter is not certainty, but responsibility. The greatest compliment we can pay to Socrates is to use his questions to sharpen our own judgment, to test our own beliefs, and to carry the patience required to learn something new tomorrow. If you keep that intention, these quotes will stop living on the page. They'll live in your daily choices, shaping a mind that is resilient, curious, and worthy of the name human. Choose one quote to carry with you today, and start the experiment of thinking as a daily practice. The rest will follow as you practice, test, revise. And remember that what question will you ask first the moment you finish this